Geek out! Bleep blop bloop gamers, time for another installment of the Video Game Archives. I'm Sam.
I'm Zach.
This week we're going to be talking about the very first video game I ever owned. This one's the one, like I had played video games before this, but Christmas 1992, much to my surprise, under the tree that morning was a Super Nintendo, and the pack-in game was Super Mario World, the first 16-bit just Mario game ever, and it just blew my fucking gourd because I never thought my parents would get me a video game console. They were like very adamantly like, "Hey, no, go outside and play." And the fact that it was like the best console out there, they didn't give me like a fucking Atari 2600, just blew my mind. So yeah, this one it's probably my favorite game on the Super Nintendo, which is kind of a big bold statement. But this one meant a lot to me. So yeah, Zach, do you have any memories of Mario's debut on the Super Nintendo?
Well, I guess just to start off, when it came to Super Mario World in particular, I owned a Super Nintendo and I had tons of games for it. But it took a really long time for me to own a copy of Super Mario World for myself because all my friends had it on their own. So I never had an incentive to play it by myself. And at that time, I was going outside to friends' places all the time, and then we would just pick up where we left off playing Super Mario World, whether it was at the very beginning of the game or if it was at Bowser's Castle or the Forest of Illusion. It didn't matter. So it's kind of like watching a show on Netflix, and then with a sitcom like How I Met Your Mother, you can just watch a random episode and it doesn't really matter. That's what I was doing with Super Mario World.
Just kind of like pop in. Maybe you were at the Vanilla Dome. Maybe you were at the Butter Bridge. Maybe. Yeah, this was a huge game. It gave us Yoshi, who was like my favorite thing in the fucking world, like more than like like loved ones for like months. Yeah, there are less memorable things that Super Mario World introduces, like Resners. Whatever happened to Resners?
Good question.
It's one of those things that named after Trent, actually, because the director of Super Mario World was big on the rock music. That's why all the Koopa kids are named after various musical. Roy Orbison is Roy, and Robert Downey Jr. Morton Downey Jr. is Morton, Ludwig, and all that. But yeah, Resners are named, the bosses in the fortress are named after Trent Reznor, which I always thought was kind of cool. I didn't know that at the time. I just thought they were annoying, fire-breathing triceratops. But the sentiment was there.
Yeah, I really like. They took a lot of risks for Super Mario World, but sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I mean, obviously, I could go on a large tangent from this point on.
Oh, so. Sure, I feel like I monopolized the discussion too much. What do you have to? Please, by all means.
Yeah, so there are so many firsts with Super Mario World, which is really interesting because usually with there's this delicate balance of I want it to be the same but different. Super Mario World is almost all of it is different, and it paid off. I think one of the few instances where it didn't pay off was probably the design choice for the Goomba. I did not like the Goomba in this game.
Yeah, I hate that. Like, it's like years of Mario traditions. Like, oh, you just jump on a Goomba and they're dead forever. Super Mario World, you jump on them, they just kind of you can kick them around.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell's up with that? I'm glad they wisely, I guess, when's the next time we see Goombas? Super Mario 64. Yeah, the next time you see them, it's the only game where if you jump on a Goomba, it doesn't die instantly, which is kind of annoying.
But again, at the same time, on the flip side, like you mentioned, the Resners, I thought that was just fun. Like, is a simplistic yet clever boss. Mm-hmm. And then the Charging Chucks, I think they were a welcome addition.
Charging Chucks, the first time I ran into a Charging Chuck, which is on Yoshi's Island, World 1, Level 2, that scared the hell out of me, because I'm just kind of like riding my fucking Yoshi through World 1, Level 2, and all of a sudden this like football man assaults me. As a 6-year-old, that scared me, man. Like, because it comes out of nowhere if you don't know where it's coming.
I guess I was more confused with my first debut of the Charging Chuck because in my mind I was thinking sports in a Mario game, and this is before all the sports titles, obviously. So I was just like, "What's a football player doing in my Mario game?" And then when I'm progressing through the game, I'm like, "Wow, these guys are really annoying."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like to just stand at a distance and pelt them with fireballs until they die.
Exactly. It's funny. The Fireball kind of took a step back in this installment. Like it's there, but it's just not one of the more sought after abilities, considering like everything else that you have access to.
They really want you to use Yoshi's. They really want you to do the spin attack, and they really want you to do. They really want you to use the cape. The cape is the big thing.
Exactly. And one thing that I absolutely love about this game is, oh my gosh, there's so many things. One, I guess the connected world map I thought was really cool. Looking back at it now, it's more of a cosmetic thing. Doesn't really do a whole lot as far as just going from one level to the next. But it's nice being able to just walk this entire world map and then seeing like where you've been and where you can go to. It's really cool.
Yeah, it makes every level, unlike Super Mario Brothers 3, where you're confined to the world. You can, if you wanted to play levels from Yoshi Island, even when you're in the Valley of the Bowser, you can totally do it.
Yeah, that's another important thing that you mentioned. You can actually go back to previous stages. It's not just you got to see it through the end now. You can kind of explore and play levels over again. I'm not sure if it was a first, but it's definitely. Again, it was very nice, especially with all the secrets that were in this game.
Right, and a lot of the secrets kind of eluded me for the longest time. Like in the instruction booklet, I remember as a kid, they're like, some levels have more than one exit. Or there's this cool thing called Star Road, where you can obviously teleport anywhere in Dinosaur Land, because you're not in the Mushroom Kingdom in this one, you're in fucking Dinosaur Land. But as a kid, I didn't access any secret exits for like years. It took me fucking years to find like the keyhole exits. And they were like, use this key to access this, or like you would see the outlines for other switches, and you didn't know necessarily where the green or blue or magenta switch palaces were. You were just kind of like, well, I see what they're doing here, but I don't know how to. And there's some secret exits that I still like. Is it the Butter Bridge that leads to Soda Lake? Or is it Cheese Bridge? I want to say it's cheese, actually, because butter's the one on top. Of course. So I always have trouble getting to Soda Lake. That's the one thing that sometimes prevents me from getting the autumn color swap.
Oh, that's right. That's right, because the color swap, that was separate from the special world, right?
Well, you had to get the so obviously for those of you listening at home that don't know, there's the standard like world map where everything's green and blue and lush and verdant. Is it verdant or verdant?
I'm the wrong person to talk to.
Sure. So if you beat every level in Super Mario World, you have to find both exits for the ones that have two. If you do that, and then do the weird special world where there's like in the center of Star Road where there is bonus or there's tubular, gnarly stuff like that, the entire world map's color palette changes to autumn colors and stuff like Goombas turn into pumpkins and that sort of thing.
Yeah, the Goombas have Mario mustaches and hats.
Yeah, and I think it's Koopa Troopas that turn into jack-o'-lanterns or something to that effect. Yeah, that's the one thing that always kind of like that I have trouble with. Even now, I mean, this game came out I've had this game since '92, so here I am, 26 years later. Yeah, that's the thing that still trips me up. I have easier time on some of those like gnarly tubular stages than I have getting the secret exit in fucking Cheese Bridge.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what were some of the annoying levels for me. Definitely from the special world. Everyone says that tubular was their hardest one, and I totally get it because you're flying around, and as soon as the balloon ability runs out, you're screwed instantly. And while it is a difficult stage, I've definitely reached a point where it's just muscle memory going through it. Again, assuming you stacked up on enough lives beforehand.
Hmm.
But the one that I found the most annoying, it was trying to remember the names that were associated with each one. Oh, I do love the very last stage where it says "You are a super player" and all of the coins like before you get to the exit. I just thought that was so nice.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, it had like the two columns, and you're pretty much like climbing up one and then falling down the other.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, which one was that?
I don't know right off the top of my head, but I know what you're talking about. No, I mean there was a that was like a
It was gnarly, the first one.
gnarly, right? Yeah, in a lot of ways, those levels are like a precursor to Super Mario Maker, in that it's like we're just gonna make levels where you have to be on your shit.
Yeah, it's very sadistic, and it's really funny because I'm probably jumping ahead, but how much this game has been modified the crap out of, even to this day.
Oh yeah,
Uh, yeah, you got Kaizo Super Mario World. You have people doing Super Mario World speed runs. You have people creating like all their different flavors of Super Mario World. This was their template for making the platform that they wanted, whether it was the B sides or whether it was just I'm going to make this difficult because fuck you.
and honest to God, like it really is the Mario game. Like this is my favorite 2D Mario game. It's better for me, better than the original, better than Super Mario Brothers 3. Like the new Super Mario Brothers games are great, but they're riffs on the original Super Mario Brothers. There's a reason why there's so many Super Mario World, Mario Maker customs out there, because this is the one that I think really sticks. This is, if you were looking for a game to answer Sega's challenge, this is it.
The other thing too is that this game is pretty much boundless as far as what they offer with abilities, and then all the different levels and all the secrets and all the different enemies and bosses. Like it's a jam-packed game for its time, because usually, with most Super Nintendo games, especially if you're just renting out Blockbuster and hoping for the best, it would be like insanely hard and then game over instantly. And it's just, well, do I want to play it again and get another game over? But here you can actually just, if you are more comfortable with the easier stages, then you can just play the crap out of them, and for some reason you don't get tired of them.
It's very accessible. It's very accessible. They worked out player enjoyment somehow down to a science. Like it really is kind of, if you want to suffer through something in Valley of the Bowser, you can totally do that. If you want to like have fun in like Vanilla Dome, you can do that too. Vanilla Dome was, as a kid, I got stuck at the haunted house, the ghost house, because again, I'm only doing like regular exits. I don't have access to any of the secret exits, even though I know they're clearly there. For a good chunk of my initial ownership of this game, I got stuck at the vanilla ghost house.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when it comes to, I'm just going to say this about most Mario games. I hate the ghost houses. I think they're annoying as crap, and I get it's just like, oh, hey, it's breaking away from the traditional formula of running from start to finish. It's a maze. You don't know which door. Maybe the door's hidden. And it's just so annoying, especially. So when I'm playing these ghost levels, I'm just trying to find the exit, and it's like, oh, great, it had a secret too. Oh, forget it.
Yeah.
And I find myself skipping it. I think the only one where I actually explore it fully is the ghost house before you reach Vanilla Dome, where it reveals Top Secret, and it gives you all the powers and Yoshi.
Yeah, if that's the
and
first,
you just constantly visit that one whenever you want.
Yeah, if you're playing it like
That's
I
the
did,
only-
yeah.
Yeah, that's the only ghost house I bother with. Everything else, I'm just like, forget it.
But the ghost house secret on the donut secret, as I'm saying this out loud, it sounds like I'm just stringing together fucking random nouns. The donut secret ghost house is the one that leads to Star Road.
The cherry, strawberry, banana road.
Yeah. That's how you, and that's the only time in the entire game where you kill a Big Boo with the special box.
The boos are the boos are more fleshed out in this game. While they do have they sneak up on you when you're not staring at them directly. You have the ones that are moving in a circle. You have ones that are just like flashing like in the ceiling above you, and then you have the really big boo. And sometimes it has a challenge of trying to like kick a spring over it so that way you can get across it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the dawn of the big boo. Also, those random. Okay, I'll tell you what I got stuck on in Vanilla Ghost House was those killer green circles. They're like these random giant circles that are like bubbles, but they're ghostly bubbles.
Oh! I know what you're talking about.
Also, there's like these ghost dinosaurs, and in the instruction manual, one of them like fucking KOs Mario because it stuck with me as a child. They're like ghosts that look like they're too cool for the house. They're just kind of like cruising along with their like flaps out, with their eyes closed, with their nose literally pointed up.
Yeah, and they just like float in a straight line.
Yeah, they're very predictable, but they're just kind of like they always like, oh, what's this guy? Okay, the hardest regular level for me, like to get just regular exit wise, is probably the ghost ship.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, underwater levels.
And it's a underwater ghost house.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
creepy
gosh.
as hell because every inch of it is covered with booze, and there's like a giant eye peeking through the wreckage at you. You never find out what that giant eye is. It just fucks you
Oh,
up.
yeah. That would have been an interesting boss.
Yeah.
Assuming it's an already a boss. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe it was, maybe it was like Super Mario Sunshine sized Bowser. We'll never know. I do like that this is kind of like almost like a direct sequel, like story wise, to Super Mario Brothers 3. They're like, cool, we kicked Bowser's ass. Let's go to Dinosaur Land because they have beaches, so we'll just hang out on their beaches. And Princess Peach gets kidnapped as she's wont to do, and then you find out all the Koopa kids crash landed there, and you find out Bowser crash landed there. It's like, oh, they didn't just kind of like fall into the ether like a Disney villain. They landed at this random collection of islands, and now we have to save the day.
Yeah, and speaking of the way you progress through the story and knocking down castle to castle. Okay, let's just start from the top. Okay, so one thing about the castles that stuck with me is climbing on the cages and being able to punch the Koopas on the other side.
So
Or
cool.
you could flip over to the other side and then punch the Koopas that are facing you.
Mm-hmm. That was the
I thought
coolest
that
thing.
was so freaking clever back in that day with like Super Nintendo graphics and like trying to emulate that.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. What kind of Koopa Kid boss fight? Because you had like three different styles. You had the kind where you basically beat the shit out of them until they fell in lava. You had
Mhm.
you had the kind where they would show up in a random pipe and you had to jump on their head like whack-a-mole. And they had the one where it was very kind of like Super Mario Brothers 3, where they would just kind of dash at you. You would jump on them, and they would get on the ceiling and try to like steel cage match you. But which one of those three kinds were your favorite?
Um, I think probably like the cage match that you were mentioning.
See, for me, it's the lava, just because I like. There's like a satisfaction where you're just beating on them until they fall into the lava and burn. God.
Yeah, for some reason, I just could not get the physics right for that, so I ended up getting too carried away and falling in the lava myself.
Sure, yeah. No, I mean it was tricky. It was always a roll of the dice. Also, Magic Koopas, fuck Magic Koopas.
And yeah, they definitely set a precedence for. I think they took a page out of Wizrobes from The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. Also, this is the game that I believe brought us Wigglers.
Oh, love Wigglers.
Really?
It's funny. It's just I just think it's one of the more brilliant designs that have come out of Mario characters.
There's a lot of designs that didn't make it out of this, but Wigglers and Big Boos, which are really just boos but bigger, are the ones that really stuck.
Hmm. Oh, and again, going back to the castles, how about the like when you defeat a boss and then having the thank you animation from the bouncing egg, and then figuring out how is Mario going to devastate the castle this time?
Yeah. What's your favorite of all the ways?
I think probably where he just like kicks it and then stomps on it, just because it's suspension of disbelief. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
What's the one which is the second one, yeah. Which is the one where he's like perplexed by what happens to it? It like vanishes.
Oh, that's a good question. Shoot, what castle was that?
I want to say it's
But
like Force
I
of
know what you're
Illusion or
talking.
something like that. I think it is. Because the first one he just straight up like detonate like TNTs. The second
Mhm.
one's the one you were talking about where he kicks. I know Ludwig up on the mountain is the one he bounces off like the mountaintop because it has the band-aid on its head afterwards and basically slams down on. But one of them just has like this weird demise, and he's just kind of like, okay, like I think it might be Vanilla Dome, where he's just like, I guess I just did that. Um, Also, I'm trying to think. Something I struggle with is getting to the hidden fortress in the Valley of the Bowser. Now that I think about it, to get to Bowser's back door.
Wait, repeat that?
One of the now that I'm thinking about it, one of the paths or one of the I have trouble getting the secret exit in Valley of the Bowser that leads to the secret fortress that leads to the back door of Bowser's castle or side door of Bowser's castle.
Oh, see, that one I have memorized because I got so tired of just going through the stages the old-fashioned way.
Ah, well, I guess I need to get on your level, but the yeah, that was for me. That was a toughie. That was a tough one.
Ah, okay, so it's the fourth castle where the castle shoots up like a rocket.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's just kind of like, okay, well, I guess that's just not coming back down. Fair enough. Um, no, I mean, there's what's your favorite world within Dinosaur Land?
I would have to say, ooh, that's a tough one. Well, I mean, this is going to make you sound like a novice, but obviously, like Donut Zone had all the secrets. But however, I love the music in Forest of Illusion.
Yeah, I think it's like one of the weird, I guess, strings or whatever the 16-bit equivalent is. Um, I actually have fond memories of. I mean, Donut Plains is probably
Donut Plains, yeah.
yeah, is probably up there. Really big fan of Vanilla Dome. That's why I keep mentioning Vanilla Dome. Did Yoshi's house serve any purpose other than just to deliver the exposition?
Yeah, I mean, even then, it's just it's weird how when you start your first game, how it just kind of like throws you into it. Or this speaker box is just like, by the way, this stuff is going down.
Yeah, this is why you're here. I hope if
Yeah,
you, in case you didn't read the back of the box or the instruction manual, this is shit's gone south. Have
yeah. So,
fun.
did you ever bother with the tutorial speaker boxes there in the earlier stages?
As a kid, you would hit everything because you
Yeah.
just wanted to know. This is a pre-internet world. You didn't know if maybe they'd tell you the meaning of life in one of those speaker boxes. So far as I can tell, they didn't. But um, as a kid, I would hit every single one at least once to know what it said.
Yeah, so the one that I found the most useful, obviously, was probably where it taught you to spin and then be able to break blocks underneath. Now,
Yes.
I think this was kind of a more tacked on ability. Um, and I think, with the exception of one of the stages in Star World, where you're doing that through the entire level, it doesn't really do a whole lot. It's just like, hey, we have this ability that we threw in there. Let's give it a reason to be there. That's how I felt when I looked at it.
It helps on speed
Obviously,
runs.
yeah, obviously I'm not like a speedrunner and abusing the physics engine.
Yeah, yeah, because for those of you in the know, like the spin jump is basically what it almost makes you invincible. Like you're bouncing off, you can bounce off like the chainsaws on the bridges, or you can bounce off some of the ghosts. You can bounce off with a spin jump.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not that good, so I usually don't. but but if I did, also the weird blue dinosaurs in are taken out with one spin jump. Also, I didn't. This is a really cool dynamic that doesn't really exist much. I mean, it happens in Super Mario World, but like when you jump on certain Koopas and they bust out of their shell and they're in their underwear.
Oh yeah, and then they run back for it.
Yeah, or
It's a cute animation. They definitely had a lot of fun with that.
you also have the Koopas that don't have the shells and are just like randomly like flying at you with capes, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like I remember that's the first thing you run into in Donut Plains. You're just like, you're just like, okay, cool. I just got through the first castle. That was fine. And then all of a sudden, like these like bean things in capes start zooming at you, and you're just like, oh well, this is a thing now. Welcome to. That's really when.
Too.
Yeah, I feel like that Donut Plains 1 is where Super Mario World actually starts. You know,
Yeah,
that
I agree.
that's the secret level. That's the first level with the cape. That's everything. Yoshi's there. So is charging Chuck. Now that I think about it, it's everything you need to know about Super Mario World is in Donut Plains 1. That's the meaning of life.
Very nice. Did you have a particular favorite ability or Yoshi?
Blue. If you get Blue Yoshi, you're virtually unstoppable.
Oh yeah, because of the flying.
Yeah. It makes every level infinitely easier in terms of just being a boss. Yellow Yoshi, with the stomp is great. And I loved I loved flying. I still don't have it down perfect, but I always loved flying.
I loved one thing I really enjoyed about being I guess just like the running animation in general. But for instance, when you hit the switch at the Yellow Switch Palace and can run up the wall if it has a pink rock next to it saying like, "Hey, you can run up this wall." By the way,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I thought that was so satisfying.
The pink triangle. That's right. Which had a face because everything in Super Mario has like at least eyes.
This is true.
Um,
That's how you know the landscape's happy.
of course, yeah, all the mountains in the background and everything.
Like,
Um, yeah, I mean those, and once I started to actually hit those secret exits, it's like this entire dimension of the game that had always been there and always been teased. They were pretty upfront about it. Like commercials were like, "There's more secrets in this," and the instruction book is like, "There's more secrets in this," and I was like, "Where are the fucking secrets?" But like as I got this game at the beginning of, I was in kindergarten when I got this game. By like third grade, so I guess it took me like close to 3 years to start finding secrets instead of just playing the game through top to bottom. That's when like I was like, oh my god, like there is so much more to this game, and it as I guess at that time a 9-year-old, it just blew my mind.
yeah, you really get the sense that the key and keyhole segments of a level is the VIP passage of the game, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, but the one things that bother me particularly is when you would go off the beaten path, but then it wouldn't go anywhere. It would just be another stage with a red dot, and then you go, "Oh, I gotta find the secret for this stage too, because if I don't, it'll just send me back to where I started." Why couldn't it just be like a path of difficult levels that don't have secrets that I need to find?
Yeah. You almost kind of feel like, well, it was anticlimactic. It was just like after all these really awesome, yeah, it did kind of bum me out, especially like vanilla, and I think Forest of Illusion has one. Like what is the purpose of the levels that have one massive, that are like a bigger circle than the others? Is it just because it's the first level of that world or something?
I never figured that out. I think it was shoot, what did that mean?
It,
Yeah, because it was like you have the small yellow dot, fat yellow dot, small red dot, fat red dot. I just thought like the fat red dot had more, I don't know, more secrets, I guess, but I'm not sure if that's true.
I think it was maybe just the first dot in every world. I feel like that may have been it. Yeah. But yeah. What was your favorite power up and favorite Yoshi?
I guess as far as power ups go, anywhere where there was a mushroom, because I was always getting my ass kicked and then turning into a shrimp again. Um,
Yeah.
wasn't too picky. The cape I couldn't control. I still can't control it no matter how I try. I love the pea balloon because I think it's so hilarious how Mario gets ridiculously fat and just floats his way up.
Sure.
I would say that one's probably my favorite. And then with Yoshi, let me see here. Yeah, obviously the blue Yoshi with wings. It's so much easier to find some of the secrets up in the clouds with that one. I also enjoy the red Yoshi just being able to, spit fireballs from everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Devastating ability. Devastating.
oh yeah, it's so satisfying. And then one thing, they were so creative with just all the different secrets. Well, one of the reasons, one of the examples I have is where you hit a block and then just a pair of wings is flying out, and you need Yoshi in order to have access to those wings, and it just shoots you straight up, and it's like a little bonus level.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was so cool.
yeah. It's like you better be prepared.
Yeah, I even love the question mark block where the ability is completely random.
Mm.
It comes in like a slot machine.
The
They really went all out with ideas. I wonder what the rejected ideas were.
Well, it's wild because Miyamoto, like in interviews since, still considers he's like, yeah, it was kind of rushed. Like in some ways, it's incomplete. It's like, how is it incomplete? Like, what didn't you put in? What is like the idea of a Yoshi had been around since the development of Super Mario Brothers 3, but they're like, it's not a powerful enough console for like him to have a random steed. So, but I'm trying to wonder. I can only imagine what got left on the cutting room floor. You know, what didn't make the grade, or what he was unsatisfied with.
Yeah, exactly. Like what's in there that he just really wasn't feeling.
Yeah, because he's not shy about letting people know when he doesn't like something. Like I mean, he famously was not a fan of the Donkey Kong Country trilogy at all. That's why he went a completely different way with Super Mario.
Oh, okay, hold up for a second. In a few stories that I've read, I've heard that him not liking Donkey Kong Country was a myth. Um, because obviously he was happy that that game was successful and how well it did for the Super Nintendo platform starting out. I mean, it could be one of those things where you go down a rabbit hole, but I think it could be one of those myths where it's like he hated this game, and it's like, oh, actually, not really. I don't know how that spread.
I heard he felt that people were more hung up on how like advanced the pre-rendered graphics were compared to the actual gameplay. He's like, if you look at it, the game isn't that great. Everyone's just kind of wowed by how nice it looks. That's what I hear about Miyamoto on Donkey Kong Country, which is why Nintendo was like, could you do a pre-rendered game for Yoshi's Island? And he's like, no. I'm like, there's pre-rendered cutscenes in Yoshi's Island, but that's why he has like the crayon style for that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I hear his big beef. I don't know if it's necessarily like he's just like they've butchered my creation, but he's like it's style
My
over substance.
brand.
Yeah. Because that's his baby. That's where it all, as we've covered on this show, that's where it all started for Nintendo and for Miyamoto. But I think that's his beef with it, that it's not enough substance gameplay wise. Just like he's apparently was not a fan of GoldenEye, because he didn't like the idea of like first person shooters, and so apparently Rare got sent a letter deep into development on GoldenEye. They're like, could you add a cutscene or could you during the end credits have James Bond shake hands with all the villains from the game, like in a hospital or something? And they were like, no. Like he didn't like the idea that like
that is a cute idea. Like definitely, I would like to see that in a Mario game.
Yeah. It makes more sense in a Mario game because like they would just have like the random like X bandage on their head or whatever. But like imagine like a 64-bit, like imagine GoldenEye, and at the end there's like 64-bit Sean Bean and everything, like in a hospital shaking hands with 64-bit like Sean Connery, just to let you know everything's okay.
Back to Super Mario World.
Yeah, back to Super Mario World. Yeah.
All right. So, one thing I also appreciate about the levels in this game is that one, we have a place called Chocolate Island.
Choco Island.
And then two, we don't have a desert world.
Choco Island gets kind of close because it's all brown. And I love, honest to God, like we're not going to talk about the Mario Kart games at least at this juncture, but one of my favorite places in Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64 is Choco Mountain or Choco Land. It's so gorgeous. There's something about it that just calms me down. But there's a strong argument that Choco Island is actually my favorite thing in all of Super Mario, like over Donut Plains and Vanilla Dome. But the levels start to get kind of fucking hard. There's also the random giant Monty moles that start to show up around then.
The Monty moles, was that did they show up in Super Mario 3? Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, they were definitely Super Mario Bros. 3.
Yeah.
But yes, they were a nice welcome addition here too.
Now they're bigger. Like at least some of them are bigger. There's also those random ass like dinosaurs that shoot like a fireball, and if you jump on them once, they get smaller, and then you jump on them again.
Whatever happened to those?
There's a
you squish them like an accordion, and and it's in one of the very first levels.
Well, no, there's the blue guys, but there's the ones on Choco Island that are like kind of like a dark green, almost like a rejected Reznor design.
Like a palette swap, or okay.
Kinda, and you jump on them twice, and they also died. Like I said, there's a lot of designs and a lot of things from this game that don't ever really show up much after this game. Those are the green ghost circles, the too cool for you ghosts, the blue accordion dinosaurs. These all have names, by the way, and the random ass things on Choco Island.
Yeah. Oh, goodness, lost my train of thought. Okay.
You also get massive bullet bills in this. Everything's bigger in Super Mario World.
Right, the bonsai bill.
Is that the name?
That was the one thing I forgot to mention. Again, very first stage. You're playing video games for the first time, or you're just like very young starting out. A bullet takes up the entire screen, and then all you have is this little dish duck in. Because good luck trying to jump on top of it your first go around.
That's the first thing you like. Technically, the first thing you see is like the Koopa Troopa that slides down into his shell in front of you. But right after that is the Bonsai Bill, and that shit's incredible. Like it throws you off. You're just like, oh my god, everything's bigger, everything's brighter and more colorful. Ooh, this is Super Mario World, and then all of a sudden, like a giant angry bullet man comes at you and fucks up your day.
Okay. So one thing I forgot to mention, this game has no flagpoles. How did you like the bar moving touchdown thing, if you will?
I like it better because I could always hit it at the top if I needed to. I was always better than doing the flagpole stuff. I'm not that great at hitting the flagpole.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if they went back to being able to access a bonus level after meeting a quota with multiple exits.
Yes. Yeah, I'd be down for such a thing.
Yeah, it could even be like a match 2 game from Super Mario Bros. 3, but it would be something nice, something I could look forward to after multiple exits, and I would want to have the best possible exit every time.
Also, this game has sea mines, dolphin men that you get to ride.
The dolphins! I remember them.
And random ass fish that have snorkels for some reason. They're fish. Why do they have snorkels?
You think the snorkels would be attached to their gills? Well,
yeah.
That wouldn't make sense either.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where like, why does it? It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. This is the game that gives us Bowser Clown Car, isn't it?
It is. And the whole boss level, the ladder of it takes place in a clown car, which is a very interesting approach to fighting Bowser.
I like it better than Super Mario Bros. 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Super Mario Bros. 3, you're just like, wait, that's it? And then here in this game, it's just, it's tricky. And it's not something that I would expect when fighting Bowser. It's clever, don't get me wrong, but then when it comes to the final boss, it's just like, hey, you have these like bombs and you gotta like kick them up and then hope that it lands on them. And it's a very calculated way of fighting Bowser.
It is. It's kind of it's wild. It's a whole wild thing. There's the different approaches that he has and everything, and it's such a wild. I'm saying this all out loud. It's such a wild ass.
It really is. It's just can't even scratch the surface with just how much is jam packed into this game and all these wild zany ideas that they've just embraced.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question. Because we've really gone whole hog on this. Do you have any? What are some of your strongest memories of this game, and do you have any parting thoughts? Because we're like, this is the biggest Nintendo episode we've ever fucking done.
Yeah, there's so much to cover with this game because it's so vastly different, in all the best ways too.
Oh yeah.
So, fond memories I think was when I first learned about Star Road.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, that definitely felt like a VIP access. And these stages were they were fun, they were difficult, they had a good payoff to them. And again, all the different Yoshis, and then feeding him, and then finding out that a grown Yoshi has all these different abilities, and then you find out that there's even a star road within that star road that takes you to special, and that was just wild. And I think that was definitely the cream of the crop as far as peak Mario secrets go. So that's definitely one of my favorite moments of Super Mario World, just knowing that that exists and then being able to access it myself. Lowlights, I would say some of the stages just are so annoying. Or, again, the ghost houses, where when I beat it, I don't get any satisfaction. It's like, oh, I'm glad I don't have to play this level again.
Mm. And I mean, it really is like, this is the game that started it all, at least for a video game owner, for me. So there's definitely rose-colored glasses, but this is one of my favorite games of all time. Certainly one of my favorite games, both within the Super Mario franchise and the Super Nintendo library. It's again my favorite side-scrolling Mario game of all time. So there's that.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's a strong argument. I know what my favorite Super Mario game is, and it's a ways away. It's kind of wild that this is really the only true Super Mario game on the Super Nintendo.
It really is.
Because we're not
we
like
could have easily made a sequel with just again like the B-side of levels, if you will, or if it's just like more onto their existing formula. Very interesting that this is the only one for this system.
I feel like they were just trying to like let's look at all the other cool things we can do with our properties. And this is the last Nintendo console for a while, because unfortunately the Nintendo 64 doesn't do as well, but this is the last Nintendo console until really at least the Wii. They're like, look how fun, like how they have like third-party support, so they almost become like more like overseeing third and second-party adaptations, because everybody gets the Super Nintendo treatment in the except for I guess fucking Kid Icarus, but the and the Ice Climbers.
That's true. Yep.
But you get Super Metroid is leaps and bounds better than all the NES and Game Boy, and of course we've already talked about Donkey Kong Country, and I mean Link to the Past. I mean that's such a fucking but it all starts at Super Mario World. And I guess they kind of outsourced it. They're like, here, make a racing game out of it. Make an RPG out of it. We'll do a sequel, but it's really just like your Yoshi. Spoilers: yeah. We're not going to cover Yoshi's Island, at least in this initial run.
Yeah, this game definitely proves that they are not out of ideas, especially with Mario. And every time when you think they've exhausted their creativity, they're not even close.
Yeah. So stay tuned. This has been another installment of the Video Game Archives. Here we are with I guess the only Super Mario entry in the 16-bit era. We'll be back in the 64-bit era next time. I'm Sam.
I'm Zach.
Adios. This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.